So my Dandavat Pranam to everyone. I'm very happy to see all the devotees today in this online class. So we just will remind ourselves what is most important in our spiritual practice, why we're all trying to practice Krishna consciousness, why we try to preach Krishna consciousness, what is the essence. So Mahaprabhu expressed 5 ideas, which mentioned by Haridas Thakur, Swami and Charitamrita. One of them is Sadhu Sangin, Nama Kirtan, Bhagavad Shrayan, Mathuravas, Archaya Seva, Nama Sankirtan. Means in association with devotees, take shelter of Vrindavan, Mathura, and hear Srimad Bhagavat, means Krishna conscious Katha, and engage in Nam Sankirtan. But if we really look very closely at all these directions, not all this Vrindavan, all the Vrindavan is plane of consciousness, but without holy name and devotees accessible for us. Sadhu Sangha, the great association of saints, also not always easy, and many other things. It seems to be hard to follow. Then Mahaprabhu was asked, what is the other way we can continue our spiritual life? And he said, Jividoya Nama. So conclude this to 3 principles. Jividoya means compassion. Compassion means see this world, as Srila Sridhar said, it's relief. Place is relief. Material world is world of suffering, called sometimes there are addiction to it, but for its enjoyment there is suffering. So you need to understand the soul is in unstable position, just like when the doctor comes to a mental institution, you see all kind of patients there. Somebody slings himself down, healthy, but really the doctor understands due to perverted consciousness, due to shadow of consciousness, all these living beings are being placed in a mental institution, but everyone has his own mania. Somebody believes he's a king, somebody believes he's a wealthy, and somebody can say, well, so what's the problem with these people? It sounds like being crazy. It's the solution, because, you know, if somebody wants to believe he's a king or a queen, or he's the wealthiest man, and he believes in that, that's a very wonderful thing. So you just have to believe, but, you know, what's reality? Who cares in this world? This would be an answer for our existence, but reality is this: what is the truth? So if somebody can be a king, something does not belong to him, something that he does not control. If somebody live in a world of death and exploitation and believe I'm the most happy person in this world, he must be, you know, crazy. But again, craziness does not mean that there's no way out. It's just being crazy and sick does not mean that you can. When somebody even realizes that expect some operation or some kind of magic pill, but you know, naturopathy will tell you, listen, all you have to do is just change your style of life, change your way of thinking, and your disease will go away. Patient can insist, hey, I need an operation, I need hardcore medicine, I need painkillers, I need this, I need that. But the qualified doctor will say, well, that's not really the treatment. You need to change the way you think and the change you live, and gradually your disease will go away. The natural question would be, how can I change my life? How can I change my lifestyle? It's very difficult. Well, it is, but in Mahaprabhu preaching, he said holy name can resolve everything. But the problem is people don't understand holy name, they don't value holy name, and they don't appreciate holy name, because holy name is coming, is Krishna himself coming directly from Goloka Vrindavan. But it's not easy accessible for some conditioned soul. It needs to be performed in proper conditions without offenses. So then we can understand holy name has the most powerful power in Kali Yuga to relieve the conditioned human being from his suffering. Not only that, it also has a power to bestow love of God. Without love, real true existence in the spiritual world is not possible. The spiritual world exists based on love. But holy name have all this power. Holy name can help the living being to can liberate living being. But the problem is, in the mad stage of consciousness, thinking I'm man, I'm woman, I'm rich, I'm poor, I have this, that, one are lost his perception of reality, and one has no taste for holy name. And even some people are, they get enthused in the very beginning stage, but in the later stage, they would conclude, oh, this holy name is not work, or it's over exaggerated. It's too much glorious for holy name. I tried holy name, didn't work for me. Well, as the scriptures explain, that if somebody has jaundice disease, on the very beginning stage of his disease, he might still feel sugar a little bit. But as more disease progressing, as more he's losing the taste of sugar and everything sweet. So when it doesn't have proper faith and have offensive attitude towards Guru Vaishnava's scriptures and does not appreciate holy name, the holy name will not reveal himself. Then the next question comes, what are you going to do? Holy name's not revealing to you. You are still committing Nama Aparad, Seva Aparad, Vaishnava Aparad, so many Aparad. What is the hope? Well, it's pretty much, we're in a hopeless stage. So when Srila Haridas Thakur liberated prostitute, she was specifically sent to take him down and publicly expose him as not a saint, as false saint, but he was true saint. True saint means he followed what he believed and he believed what he followed. So he had no duplicity. He had double character like us. Sometimes we want to have a saintly appearance, but in our heart we want to enjoy material opulence and pleasures, etc. So then we are in this stage, but Srila Haridas Thakur was liberated soul. And as liberated soul, his only desire was to liberate others. See, liberated soul does not think, if I give food to others, they'll be happy. If I'll give job to others, they'll be happy. If I give money to others, I'll be happy, because he knows all these limited conditions. In fact, God maintains everybody in this world according to his own will. But what liberated soul is thinking is, how can I liberate all these living beings from suffering, endless suffering of material existence, even without them feeling that? So then prostitute, she was very, very satisfied. She get good money. She's a young, beautiful, enjoying anything she wants, material opulence, and has many people charmed by her beauty. And finally, she's got order from the Shah, from the king. Yes, you go seduce the saint. And she said, well, let me really seduce him. I really want to see if this saint has any saintly qualities, or he's just a man that talk about that. Well, she realized after some time, by hearing the holy name of Krishna from lips of Srila Haridas Thakur, he's real saint. And through that association, some humility came to her heart. Then she approached Haridas Thakur with folded hands, and she said, I'm sorry, but I just want to reveal the truth of my purpose being here. The truth of my purpose, that you'll be arrested and prosecuted for association with me. real true saint, and this demonic king that sent me to seduce you, he is demonic sinful man. So now, considering I commit great offense against holy saintly person, is there any hope for me? And Haridas Thakur said, yes, there is always hope for everyone. If you give up your offensive mentality, if you give up your ego and just worship Tulsi plant and chant holy name, very easy, Krishna will liberate you. So he mentioned two things: worship Tulsi and holy name. Well, although Tulsi appeared to be regular tree or plant, it's not actually, it's not. It's a great devotee of Krishna. And in the spiritual world, it's goddess Frida Devi. And when Radharani was asked, what is that such a high love of Krishna you have? Where did you get that love? Radharani replied, very simply, and by Tulsi worship, I receive everything I want, devotion. So Prindaya Tulsi Deva Priyaya Vakishma Sacha Krishna Bhakti Radha Devi Sachaya Vachayana Mama. But worship must be with love and affection and faith. Belief must be there. If you don't have that quality, then there's no real worship is possible. Formal worship is possible. Formally you can bow down, give an incense. But if you really don't treat Tulsi as a devotee, as a superior servant to Krishna, it's taken form of tree. So it says, why is that devotee is taken form of trees? Trees in material world is not very desirable form, because tree cannot move, cannot talk. But in spiritual world, spiritual beings, they're not run by selfish perception of their own pleasure. Their motivation is to serve Krishna. So they're very happy to give the whole of their existence to serve Krishna. I believe that Madhya was one of the three of Vrindavan. And actually he expressed the highest feelings of Radharani and Madhurya Rasa. But it is also says somewhere that he was in a position of Kalpa Vriksha tree, or Shukadev Goswami was a parrot, just a little bird of Vrindavan, who came and spoke Srimad Bhagavatam and liberated the whole world. So you can see, if devotees taking form of tree or parrot, this is sound like a low form. I like to have a higher form, but someone who thinking like that does not really understand the nature of devotees, true devotees of Krishna. We can exist in, blade of grass like Uddhava, or dust particle. They want to become dust in Vrindavan. Why? Because they have deep appreciation of what is Vrindavan, who is the true devotees of Krishna, what is spiritual reality. Therefore, they don't have any ego-centric perception. Oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to be in charge, I want to be doing this and that. But that's total devastation of ego and awakeness of spiritual self. Svarupena Vivasvate. So that is the principle of humility, Tridadapi Sunichena, and that was Srila Govinda Maharaj was always preaching, to try to offer respect to everybody and not to blaspheme. See, our nature is we like to criticize everybody, each other. That's our nature. I discovered that recently very much of my nature is I want to make judgment about others and talk bad about others. And, also that's part of our hridrog, of the heart disease, because we're always blaming somebody else for what is our fault, without understanding that whatever is happening with us is part of our karma. And, certain actions, reactions we have to suffer. But if we continue blame each other, if we continue offend each other and offend others, we will just get worse and worse condition. So in the scriptures, it's described that all these imperfections that exist in our heart, greed, lust, anger, all of them, they exist in us, within us. And as more as we're feeding them with our emotions, the more they're growing. In other words, you'll start feeding lust will grow. You start feeding anger will grow. Just, give food to your anger, and immediately anger will have strong. Give food to your craziness will go. Give food to all your inner emotions and senses. If you start feeding them, you would think, okay, if I just once feed them, they'll take the food and they'll be satisfied. But Raghunath Swami in Manashiksha and Sridhar Maharaj mentioned this many times. He compared our emotions like thieves. We think, well, if I just give them one coin, they'll let me go, but they're not. They'll follow you and say, give me one more coin, give me one more, give me more, give me more. So as more we feed our anger, greed, and lust, our senses, it's more crazy and violent they become, and more uncontrolled they become. So the question is what to do? The answer is you should not feed them. But if you're not feed your senses, you're not piece of stone, you cannot be emotionless. Then the answer is this: you engage your mind in thinking of Krishna. And the best thinking of Krishna is chanting his holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. If mind will be engaged in something divine, then mundane will not have power over that. But this is only a question of faith. You must have to have belief, because without belief, you will not act properly. And belief is coming from Vaishnavas. So therefore, Mahaprabhu give very short way, Sadhu Sangha, Jividoya Nama Kirtan Vaishnavaskam. Jividoya means don't engage in negative, engage in positive means preaching and glorifying Krishna Kirtanam. And if your material conditions are leading you towards self-destruction, try to away from that, and by grace of Krishna, Krishna will liberate you. So prostitute, she thought, well, being a prostitute, my life have certain standards. I have certain dress, I have certain house, I have certain, social material conditions. I kind of prostitute myself, but that's the part of material world. Here, everybody, even the king is a prostitute. So it's not just me offering my service, my body and emotions to service people. Also, that's what they do. That's how the material life exists. Otherwise, how will I go on? But Haridas Thakur said to prostitutes, please don't worry. If you will surrender to Krishna, Krishna will maintain you. If you will surrender. So that is the key word, surrender. Then when prostitute, through association of Haridas Thakur, purify her mind, and she felt truth in the words of Haridas Thakur, then naturally through humility and her inner soul awakenings, she wants to surrender, because the awakening soul always looking for a source of surrender. It's only conditioned mind looking for other ways to resolve his problems. And surrender is the key principle of spiritual life. Therefore, Sridhar Maharaj wrote a book called Prapanna-jivanamritam, which technically is a book based on surrender. And that is the book which, need to be deeply studied and appreciate, because it's giving very great step-by-step explanation that without surrender to Krishna, true spiritual transformation will not happen. And it's based on Srila Bhakti Lata Thakur sloka, which, in a nutshell, giving that in order to surrender, you have to accept everything favorable, reject everything unfavorable, believe that Krishna is your friend, take his shelter, etc. Because if you want to cure your disease, a chronic disease, the doctor will tell you the cause of your disease is your food. Do not change your food, the disease will not gonna go away, even if you take the medicine. Then you have to give up the bad food. Yeah, that bad food might be the most tasty food. All this junk food sounds very tasty. But when someone gradually give up junk food, then gradually through proper diet go to mood of goodness, then he discovered, yes, there are some other food has taste. Previously, I only eat what I like, but think I can enjoy my tongue. Now I'm trying to eat what is good for me. That may not be necessarily same taste, but feeling that I'm getting more and more healthy and strong give me enough confidence that I'm going the right way. Otherwise, there's so many overweight, very fat people, and they're suffering every day, but they're not giving up their diet. Well, but diet is not enough. You need to exercise. It means activity. So then activity is also been prescribed to act in favor of the soul with the faith in Krishna, putting holy name in the center of your life and chanting holy name with faith, devotion, and believing that through holy name you can associate with God directly. If your chanting is pure. And associate with God directly means glorify him, not to ask him anything mundane. He knows all your needs, but to sankirtan, to glorify his divine position. And when one glorified Supreme Lord, he becomes glorious himself. All these things will be revealed in association of devotees. Because without association of devotees, one cannot realize the greatest holy name, one cannot realize self-benefit, and one cannot realize necessity for spiritual practice. And association with devotees is very, very special, very intimate, and to think, Guru is not perfect because he's wearing eyeglasses, or Guru is not perfect because he doesn't know proper English. Like one Srila Prabhupada disciple once said to Srila Prabhupada, how can I understand Guru is perfect if all day I'm editing your English and I know how many mistakes you make? And Prabhupada said, well, the definition, proper understanding of this statement is not about mundane judgment of mundane qualification. It's spiritual qualification, means mood, attitude, and desire. And really, when Srila Prabhupada came to America, he didn't have desire just to travel and look at a cool country, or he didn't thought, well, coming to America, wealthy country, I earn a lot of money from my disciples and I will enjoy them. No, he didn't thought of that. He was coming with only one will, to fulfill his guru desire, to liberate conditioned souls. That's why a pure devotee of Krishna, we're not pure devotees of Krishna, therefore we don't have that feeling. But pure devotee of Krishna, his desire only to liberate other souls and give them Krishna consciousness. It was very amazing story. We were just walking on the beach, chanting japa, and there was a bunch of Mexican guys, and in Los Angeles, they're drugs, mafia, and they were in tattoo. And one of them told us, "Hey, Hare Krishna, Haribo." So we stopped and said, "Hey, Hare Krishna, how are you?" And he said, "Well, I was in prison. I suffer so much in my life, and then gradually I got the Prabhupada book, and I've read it, and I felt great knowledge. So I had to devote it. Came to the temple, and I bought the book. I bought the japa beads. I started chanting. But now I'm kind of back into my after prison life." And I told them, "Look, you should continue your association with devotees. You had some great mercy of Krishna, but you need to continue to struggle for this mercy. You have to continue look for association. It's not like you take one pill and you become, totally cured. You do need to work and realize that it will take time. And don't give up your spiritual intents." And that was very good for this guy, because he said, yeah, thank you. I will come back to temple. I will continue reading the book. I will continue chanting, because he had some enthusiasm, but it was not enough. So therefore, we need to inspire each other, and we need to give each other inspiration that if we continue our spiritual life, we'll get the benefit. Because sometimes when somebody digging gold very deeply, maybe at a certain point, it's very close to gold, but lack of faith and frustration, you might be thinking, "Oh, there's no gold. Why did I do all this work, all this time? Well, maybe not here, maybe elsewhere, maybe it's not meant for me." But if somebody will tell, "Well, just keep digging. You have to believe. We have all the indications, the wealth is there, we can feel it. But we just have to continue." Well, you need somebody who will have that kind of faith, help us, and give us the inspiration. So anyway, that was my short presentation. Anybody have any questions? I'd be happy to answer one or two questions, because we're just about to arrive to wisdom. So I don't think I can speak more than 40 minutes, 45 minutes today.
Yes, Maharaj, we have several questions. First one is from Yuvati DD. She is asking how to recognize the Lord and His will in unpleasant people and adverse circumstances.
Well, that's how deep you are understanding that behind everything good and bad is your friend Krishna. Like Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, he was walking in Vrindavan, and the boys would throw stones at him. And he would smile and say, "Krishna, I know it's you. I go to complain to Yashoda mom." So not only he felt behind those Vrindavan boys are Krishna, because he had deep understanding of Krishna consciousness. He also said, "I know how to deal with you, Krishna. I will go complain to Mother Yashoda. You may not afraid of fear. Maybe fear afraid of you. Maybe you have universal force, maybe your time, maybe your universe, but I know how to deal with you. If I just complain to Mother Yashoda, if I just tell her what you're doing with me, she will gonna deal with you very, very profoundly." So that's a very deep perception of Krishna consciousness, but we can understand somebody who has very deep understanding of spiritual reality can have that direct link connection. Otherwise, on our level, when we believe something bad has happened, we should think, well, maybe that bad has happened for something to show me that I'm doing something wrong. That means, if I change my perception, if I change my activity, that will lead me to something better. So think of this, Maharaj Parikshit knew he's going to die, but he didn't blame anybody except himself. And also he thought, well, let me use this unfortunate conditions to receive some fortune. So considering I'm dying and considering, my life is over, so nothing material will save me, let me see if I can get any spiritual benefit, true spiritual benefit. And he went to bank of Ganga, started fasting, but likely he was very pious king, and being a pious king, so many sages came to see him. But he knew all the sages, they're practicing spiritual life, and he said, well, you all been practicing spiritual life for a really, really long time. And I assume you all, trying to achieve perfection. Considering my condition that I have only 7 days to live, please give me advice. What is the best for me? I know yoga, I know pranayama, I know praying, I know yagya, but it doesn't seem like in the 7 days I can be engaged in all this long time activity. So I'm looking for something, what is the best of all. And by hearing the Bhagavad Katha, finally he was revealed, Nama Sankirtana Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam. So the gist of Srimad Bhagavatam was to engage in Krishna Kirtan, Sankirtan, and very last moment of his life, after hearing all this Bhagavad Katha and receiving proper faith, he was engaged in Krishna Kirtan. So we have to hear constantly from Krishna's pastimes, devotees' pastime, from the lips of pure Vaishnavas or devotees who are, doing repetition of this with faith. Faith must be there, and that will awake faith in our heart, which is part of our spiritual nature. And once we have proper faith, and then we can recite holy name, and then we can be liberated from this world. And we should try. And this is important for us to keep trying, because we're not perfect and we're not doing everything according to the highest spiritual standard. In fact, like I feel every time I wake up in the morning, I serve the deity and chant kirtan, I feel like, hey, my level of service is very low. I don't have love of Krishna. I don't have enthusiasm. Sometimes I just do it for the sake of to be done. And end of the story, I don't, feel inspired and for my spiritual activity and even from myself. But still, I try to put up some class, hear something about Krishna, and this very moment, some belief is coming back to me, and I say, okay, maybe I didn't do the right way, but I'll try it today again. So don't think you will, win this marathon without any challenge. Challenge must be there. But if you are keeping your faith in Krishna, Guru, Vaishnavas, and you try not to make judgment, especially to devotees, and offend them, and it's very difficult not to offend anybody in this world, because everybody has their own ego and their own perception. And, it's very difficult not to offend anybody. But if you willingly try to stop that activity of the mind, like if you see news, what people do is they're giving you news with meaning. They're just offending each other. So that's not entirely the best attitude, but that's part of the world. So anyway, what else can I say?
Can we ask one more question?
Yes.
We have a question from Bhakti Lata from Kiselny. She is asking, could you please explain what does it mean to be worthy disciple?
Sorry, what kind of disciple?
Worthy.
I mean, you can say in Russian. I'm not really. Maybe I cannot hear you very well.
Достаточным. Хорошим.
Okay. Yeah, it's a very good question because Bhakti Lata, she's a very good girl. She's always trying to increase quality of her service. And, you know, we quite often read the books of especially Chaitanya Charitamrita and stories of Madhavendra Puri and others. And we know that Madhavendra Puri's story is showing Ishvara Puri, who became Guru of Mahaprabhu. He was very, very dedicated, sincere, and had incredible service attitudes. At the end of the story, Krishna blessed him that he become, Guru of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So you can imagine Mahaprabhu also accept Guru, but he had a different choice, of course. So his choice was to bless with this position Ishvara Puri just for his own attitude and mood towards his own spiritual master. That's very amazing. So all these stories there have, great meaning for us. They have inside meaning, and they're very important for us to learn and to follow. So anyway, let's take one more question, and I think we have to end here within 5 minutes.
We have only question about what is Ekadashi.
Yeah, I spoke about that yesterday, but I can say very shortly that everything connect with moon, everything connect with mind, moon connect with mind, universe connect with us, universe outside of us. So there are many explanations about Ekadashi. One of the explanations is divine goddess that came out of body of Vishnu to destroy the scene. So there are cosmic cycles where simple activity is more active in the form of grains, because the grains contains living beings like souls. In school, they told us about water cycle, but there's also soul cycle that's coming with water, according to Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures. And soul traveling with drops of water, entering entering grains and become food and entering our body. So when moon always has effects on oceans, on water. So during Ekadashi, moon has increased water element in our body, and water element is a very subtle element that carry a lot of information. So basically, with certain prana, so certain effect on grains is coming, and grains contain negative karma. So when we stay away from grains during Ekadashi, there is one second. Can you open up? Yeah. I'm just finishing call. So when we contain elements of water in our body, and water absorb grains, that means our body naturally absorb more karma, more negative karma. That's one, a particular Vedic perception of what Ekadashi is. Another way is, how do we observe Ekadashi? So if we just fast and we get great benefit to our health and we're not get extra karma. But when we practice devotional service, it's become a completely different story, because devotional service is so powerful, so strong. It will provide us more power than even fasting, or, like what can be more than chanting of holy name. So when we combine these two elements, one is the fasting and stay away from grain, and second is to be engaged during Ekadashi and spiritual practice, we getting double benefit. One way, we're not engaged in negative activity of the universe, and another way, we are engaged in sankirtan, positive activity. So basically, reducing material activity to minimize presence connections with the karmic reactions, and engaging in something which is very purifying, very spiritual. It's giving us incredible spiritual growth opportunity. That's why Ekadashi is the mother of devotion. And there are different type of Ekadashi that dedicate for different things. Anyway, I will do a little English speaking program after maybe 10-15 minutes. I think we spoke English very good. I wish everybody learn English and learn how to communicate in English. And I want to thank Nadia for being our provider. I see Marie here. I see Hrishikesh Maharaj. I see Narayani, Indrani, and other devotees. And hopefully we can continue our English class weekly. Practice, we're practicing. It's like, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that you try to practice, you try to communicate and concentrate your mind on Krishna. And it's great opportunity. So thank you for everyone for taking your time. Within 10-15 minutes, I will come up in Russian Telegram for short 30 minutes talk. Right now, I need to do some work. We just came to one of our projects and I have to meet some inspectors. Thank you, everybody, and bye.
Jai Shri Bhakti Avadhut Maharaj ki jai.